This is Saigon John with your daily Hoosier Daddy on Octane Infinity TV. The special Sunday night edition, week number 15, is now in the books. Let's see what happened in our fantasy basketball league matchups. First, Cobra Kai Never Dies versus Team Chlamydia. Evan and Mike had 25 serviceable players this week, while Jonas had only 12 because he kept Mo Williams even though he was injured. Now, Jonas won turnovers handily because of the fewer players, but he also won by a small percentage in both field goals and free throws. Interesting thing though for Team Chlamydia, they only lost block shots by just one. And while they led the league in scoring for most of the week, it looks like Cobra Kai's deep player roster ended up passing them, securing that category as well. So it is Evan and Evil Mike winning now for the 7th consecutive week, defeating Jonas 6-3. Taco Del Miramar versus I Eat Tacos Del Mar. On Sunday, Edwin led 5-3 while this series was tied in turnovers, but Edwin had no players in action today while Chris had one. And that Kevin Garnett for the Celtics had 4 turnovers against the Magic, forcing Chris to lose that category. You know what's really got to be disappointing for Chris is that he only lost block shots by 2 and steals by just 1. The former Defensive Player of the Year, Garnett, had no blocks and only got 1 steal, coming up short for Taco Del Miramar in those defensive categories. So Chris kept his 13 players while Edwin had 16 for the week, tallying up impressive numbers in 3-pointers made and in points. So all in all, Edwin gets the season sweep on Chris, winning this week again 6-3. Ball Don't Lie versus 7 Apples. Scott won 5-4 the last time he met Mike in week 6. Could he do it again? Well, next to Chris, Mike had made the fewest moves this entire season with just 11 so far. He did make 2 this week by picking up Nate Robinson and Ben Wallace. He did have an injured player this week in Paul Pierce, so those 2 additions certainly helped him out. Scott had an injury as well with Joakim Noah, but he kept his 13-man roster intact for the week. Here are the categories that were close. Scott won free throws by just 1%. He had 4 more 3-pointers made than Mike, outscored Mike 558-542, and won block shots by 5. Mike won a close rebounding category by just 3 and handily won another 3 categories. But it wasn't enough, as Scott wins this season series with Mike winning again 5-4 for the second time. Jobbers versus Workers. As I mentioned earlier this week, I was trying to avenge a 9-0 defeat at the hands of Adam earlier this year. He's the only GM to win us head-to-head 9-0 as he did in week 6. Now, I had 14 guys in action. Adam had 16. Who would prevail? Well, Adam and I agreed our respective teams shared a lot of the same strong categories. I was leading free throws halfway through this week. It's a category I'm fairly weak in. I was actually 1-14 in free throws, but I knew my lead wouldn't last the whole 7 days, and sure enough, it didn't. I also got whooped in 3-pointers made. Ray Allen and Andrea Bargnani were the only productive players I had there. They both had 7 apiece. Ronnie Brewer and Brandon Jennings also added 1 each for me, but it wasn't even close there. Let's see. I got beat pretty easily in steals too, it looks like. Without the 8 I got from Russell Westbrook the other day, this would have been a complete joke for me. My team is fairly weak in assists too, but I barely won that one by just 4. Everything else was pretty convincing for me. I mentioned Bargnani. He had 3 turnovers for me today against the Kings. So Adam took that category from me, winning it by just 2. Pretty heartbreaking for me. So he cut down my lead after Saturday. We do split our season series. I didn't win 9-0, but I do win this week against Adam 5-4. Now moving on to our final matchup, Ringleader versus HoopKings. this one went down to the wire. Bill took over the lead last night 5-4. After the Kings-Raptors game, however, Bill's team picked up 5 more turnovers, making it a tie in that category. And in what appears to be a strategic move, with just one player left for both teams, Renee benched the Celtics' Kendrick Perkins in what turns out to be a brilliant move. Perkins ended up having 2 turnovers in that game against Orlando, and it would have given Bill that category. So again, they tie there in turnovers, and in this series, the series is, as Scott would say, like kissing your sister. Amusing since Scott doesn't have any. But Bill and Renee tie 4-4. Let's look at the league leaders for week 15. 7 Apples led in 2 categories this week with a .513 field goal percentage and picking up 62 steals for the week. I Eat Tacos Del Mar led the league in free throw accuracy at nearly 86%. Cobra Kai Never Dies led in 3 categories, 3-pointers made, points, and assists. My team, the Workers, led in 2 categories, rebounds and blocked shots. And with the fewest turnovers, as I just mentioned, Bill and Renee, their teams tied with 71. So let's look at our current standings now. Scott is still on top with the league leading 77 wins. Jonas with 73, Adam has 72, and Renee rounds out the 70 win club with 71. Cobra Kai Never Dies aren't too far. They move into 5th place now with 69 wins, jumping ahead of Bill, who has 67. And Edwin is not far behind either with 66 wins for his team. Everyone else, my team included, have losing records. I'm hoping to change that very soon. So let's now, with that said, look at our matchups for week 16. It'll be a short week as games will only be going on from Monday through Thursday, with All-Star Weekend approaching soon. Adam's team will face Jonas. Evan and Mike's team will go up against Scott's Ball Don't Lie. Bill's ringleader will face Edwin's team. And Good Mike will face Renee's HoopKings, and my squad will face Taco Del Mar. So good luck to you there, Chris. Let's move on to looking into our free agency. The waiver wire, there were 3 moves made today. HoopKings dropped Jason Thompson in favor of Jason Williams, and Cobra Kai Never Dies looks like they made a pair of moves. They dropped Rasheed Wallace and Jarrett Jack and added James Posey and Drew Gooden. Monday night, if you're around Beaverton, Octane Infinity has their weekly basketball game tomorrow night at the Hoop. If you're around, we'll be playing at 9 o'clock against the High Flyers. The admission there at the Hoop is free if you want to come root on your favorite fantasy basketball GM, or if you prefer to stay home, there are 3 games in the NBA on Monday night, including a doubleheader on TNT. Certainly one's not to miss, so I can understand if you prefer to stay home and watch hoops on TV. Our feelings won't be hurt. So with that said, that's all for now here from the bomb shelter inside Octane Infinity TV studios. See you soon for week 16 of the Who's Your Daddy JV Fantasy Basketball League. I've been your host, Saigon John, the bomb from Vietnam, and boom goes the dynamite.